this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Art Society.
This is a new game designed by Mitch Wallace, published by Mighty Boards.
It plays from 2 to 4 players in 30 to 60 minutes.
Art Society, one of the big, hottest games at Spiel. We are getting to it a little bit late because we had to get a hold of the game because it was sold out when we tried to find it at Spiel. So that's the reason why, because it was pretty high on our list of, even, especially on mine, because I like auction games. You are not known to be the lover of auction games, so we are coming in from two different perspectives on this one.
And that is interesting.
Yeah, because most of the time we are pretty aligned on the games that we like, but it is a pure auction game, basically, about getting art. You have an art collection board where you are trying to put art pieces. You're going to get art every time it's a new round, but it's an auction basically to decide the order of who gets to pick first. So each round is going to be an auctioneer who chooses the artwork that's going to be available that turn. The only thing the auctioneer knows is the size of the artwork. They're then going to flip it over and you see what artwork it is. Then you are going to basically, you have a hand of cards, which is like neat little paddles, like the old style paddles of auctions that we've seen in movies, not in real life. I haven't. Have you?
No.
And there's numbers on them from 1 to 20, and you decide how important is it for me to be first or whatever, and you will mostly first, not whatever.
Whatever.
You will flip them around, and then you will take the artworks in the descending order. You have to place them. You want to place the same frames adjacent to each other, but you don't want to place the same colors. And then you have kind of like a scoring thing where there's going to be one too many paintings or artwork, and that last one is going to go into the museum. And the value of that, basically the size, is going to tell how much that is going to go up on the track. And it's basically then the color that the least people took throughout the game is going to be worth the most at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So trying to balance getting the artwork and also not taking the artwork and not letting anybody else take the artwork, so it goes into the museum. You're going to score for a couple of different things, but mostly you're going to score for the pieces that you have in the museum. And the player that has the most points at the end, and the end is going to be triggered either when nobody has any cards left or when one person finishes their board, or a couple of different ways to end the game. And the winner is going to be the player with
most points.
Moist points. The moist points.
The moistest points.
You are always a fan of the moist points. So enough about that. That's how you play the game. Now you can go and play it. That's the how to play of Art Society.
Well,
but let's talk a bit about the other stuff in the game as well.
I think in this game it is especially important to touch on the artwork and components, since the game is about artwork.
Yes.
And first off, let's take a moment to appreciate this box cover, because it's actually like the pictures are framed in. So I love this like double layer cover.
It's a double layer cover. Let's take like a moment.
This is so cool.
Let's take a minute to appreciate it in total silence. I was going to see how far we could take it. We're going to continue the video now. It would have been fun to actually
do like...
serious? Yeah, I was starting it as a joke, and I was thinking that would be actually quite fun.
We did some seconds of silence, but there are great artwork in this game, and I love that a lot of the pictures are like fun twists on real artwork. You can have like Mona Lisa with a top hat or something, and the Venus with the surfboard beside her, but it also has a great insert, and like everything about this game is very nice production. It is good quality production. So this insert is very helpful because you can just like see very easily how many pictures are left, and you don't need to take anything out to play the game. You just like put it in when you're done, and you're ready to go. Shuffle them a little bit.
The only thing, of course, is that if you travel with this, or if you put it vertical, I will not show you what happens, but you understand what happens. But most of the time, actually, what happens is just like they just move one space.
Yeah.
So it's very simple. They don't like every time, because we have had them in bags and stuff, and it's just pretty simple to just move them back to where they are. Some of the smaller ones might be going somewhere, but other than that, it's very simple. And I like there's even like a texture on the insert. It's not plastic. It feels like velour. So yeah, I think the artwork here, it should be good. Like, because if the artwork wasn't good, then it wouldn't be a good game about artwork, I will say.
What I do have to say is that you're placing the pictures in a grid, and the vertical grid is not like the same as the horizontal. So sometimes I can be a little, confused about how much space a picture actually takes.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, so I'm fine with it now.
I haven't had a problem with it because I'm cool.
Cool.
The game also has a tiny little rulebook. It's 8 pages long, with the first 2 pages being contents and a setup. And then you have an overview, and then you have so the game rules are 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half page, basically, because it's a very straightforward game. Like I say it sometimes, and you make jokes at me for saying like, this game is pretty straightforward, but this game is actually pretty straightforward. You are basically, you can teach it so quick because you are bidding, taking the art, placing it down. You don't want to place the same adjacent, the same frame, or I mean the same color, because then both of them will be worthless. But you want to place the same frames because then you will get some bonus little tiles. They're not going to be in a bag when you get them. There will be a symbol, just one piece. You don't get the whole bag. To get some filling up some empty space and stuff like that. And that is basically what you're doing. There's some strategy, of course, and stuff like that, but the game rules are simple. The rulebook is good and clear and concise.
Nice.
And it's nice. I'm going to give it... there is even a little player aid.
Yes.
That shows the scoring. Does it show something on the other side? I have forgotten.
It does.
But what?
But I don't remember.
Rules, it basically shows you what you can and can't do with your place tiles, and have a scoring. So it's a great player aid as well.
We have played this game with 2 and 4 players, and it has taken us half an hour with 2 and 60 to 70 minutes with 4.
Yes, one of the 4-player games actually took 2 hours. But that was because of a baby.
Yeah, that's true.
So playtime was about 70 minutes. So you can't really say, it took so much more than the box says because it was a baby who didn't want to sleep. And what does the box actually say? Did you say?
60 to 30 to 60 minutes, yeah.
So I think that's great. 70 minutes, not a problem. An hour-long game with 4 people is pretty good.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about the player count a bit later. We have we're going to do that in the gameplay, if that's okay with you.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. But spoiler alert, one of them is better than the other.
Cool.
Yeah. So the gameplay. The game, as I already said a couple of times, is a very straightforward bidding game. And first of all, I'm going to ask you, because you are the anti-bidding.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I actually do not like bidding games, generally.
How did you feel about the bidding? Did you like the bidding in Art Society by Mitch Wallace and Mighty Boards, published at Spiel 2023 in Essen, Germany?
Yes. Yes, I do. The main problem that I do have with auction games is that I not know the value of things. And in this game, for the first thing, you don't have money. You just so you can't run out of things.
Yeah.
But if you waste a lot of high numbers, then you have low left. So you shouldn't do that probably.
Nope.
But on the other thing is that everybody gets something. That is generally a thing I really enjoy in auction
Positivity.
games. Yeah, that you get something, but you get to pick last. And sometimes I would rather get nothing because you have to puzzle these things as well. Sometimes you are in a position where the thing that you get will give you negative points instead of positive points. But yeah, I generally like the auction in this game. What do you think?
I like the fact that they have chosen this one bidding mechanism and they're doing that every round. So it's the same thing. It's not like in modern art, for example, where there's 5, 6 different auction types, which is fun in that case, but they're here, that is just part of the game. You have the bidding, you have the placement, the puzzle piece, all of these different things are part of the game. And if you're adding other ways to do, now we're going to do blind bidding, it basically is blind bidding. You're everybody choosing and you're flipping, so it's a blind bidding thing. But now we're going to do this other thing. It would make the game less accessible and harder to teach and harder to play. So I don't feel like it's missing here at all. The puzzle part of the game is pretty straightforward, but I think it's fun enough.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what makes this game interesting is the combo with picking, trying to get the piece that you want, and then seeing, okay, what do I actually fit? And being the person, because you go clockwise in picking what is up for auction, then you could go for being okay, I need that specific tile here, so I'm going to pick all of the tiles for auction is going to be the same this round, so I'm sure that I will get something to fit in here. Or you can do like a variety of shapes to see like, okay, what do we got here? Or you can actually go for, I don't want anything to fit because I want to choose for something between something else. Could you explain that mechanism? Because I think that is really interesting as well.
What you can do when you get a piece that you cannot fit, as you said, you can exchange it for one of the pieces that are already in the museum. So some of the times it might make sense to do that, but I feel like most of the time you want to get pieces that you can fit, and like it's an add-on thing. I want to say like the fact of picking the same pieces 4 times, in the beginning that might work because you don't have other pieces around it, but later in the game it's going to be a problem because if I choose 4 of this and all of them has colors that I already have where I want to place them, then it's going to be a problem. So what I'm usually doing is like saying, okay, I really want this type, or I could do this type, because that can be another place. So I can take maybe 2 of that and 1 of that, depending on number of players, of course. And then maybe like one super big one to be horrible against people and stuff like that. I will say, when I read the rules, and I was like, one person is going to choose the piece. I was like, oh, I don't like that. Because my experience with that is from the Castles of Mad King Ludwig, which I know is a game that very many people like, but I didn't like too much. You haven't played it, have you?
I haven't played it.
I might like it now, but like that part made it feel like a drag because like, oh, I don't know which 4 pieces am I going to choose. I don't know. I have to think for an hour. And it made the game drag out. That might just have been the group I played with, so I should probably give it another chance. But that didn't really feel like it here. Like some in the beginning didn't feel like it mattered too much. But as you said, like the more you get into the game, the more important it is to find the pieces that fit for you, and trying to have, like, for me, I felt like having a variety so I can hopefully get a color that I need to go where I wanted to go. Because like you and also you have like this assistant where you can hold one piece if you want to get another one in between it and stuff like that.
And I also think it's cool that you're, as the game progresses, you are kind of looking around and seeing, okay, what do the other people, what do the other players need right now? Do I think that red painting would be perfect for me? Do I think that you would be in contention for that? Or you can also think that, okay, I actually want to lose this auction this round because I want to decide which painting goes into the museum, so I can get a little control over which paintings are worth the most at the end of the game. Yeah, and that happens when you like it doesn't really matter for you which ones you take. Like sometimes you really need that one and you have to bid high for it, but sometimes like, okay, as long as I get like one of, like, if there's like more than one you can take, you know you're going to get one of those, so it's not going to be that huge of a problem. And let's talk a bit about player count just briefly, because it usually makes sense. Like a game like this is not going to be super good with 2 people. Yeah. How do you feel? I feel that is true for this game also. I felt like it was much more interesting in a 4-player game because there were more paintings to choose from, so there were more possibilities, and there were also more, what do you call it, like less control over what you get, basically.
I felt like the 2-player game in the beginning was super uninteresting, but then as it went by, it was like, okay, there is something here, but it's not a game I'm going to choose to play with 2 people.
I agree.
So wait, and who is it for?
I think this is a fairly light game, and I think that if you want a fairly short auction game with depth but not too many different rules or mechanisms in the way, just like get to the meaty stuff right away. It's not an AP kind of game, but it has its moments of, oh no, I can't do this, or I really need that one, or it all falls apart. This is a nice game for that kind of feeling.
I agree. So let's do some final thoughts, but before we do, we are going to tell you that if you like what we do and you are new, then you can help us out in a big way by giving us a victory point.
Oh, it didn't rhyme, the last
I know.
point there.
I didn't.
I was like looking for the rhyme. But we get victory points when you click that subscribe button down there. You can also click the bell to get notifications every time we post a new video.
So let's do some final thoughts. Do you want to begin?
Yes, I can. I really enjoy this game. I think it's really nice for what it is. I think the puzzly part and the auction
That
part...
sounds so negative, like for what it is.
I know, yeah, but I have to go into it with a mindset that like it is okay if I don't win this auction and I need to place that picture that I don't want to get. It's not a super high stakes, so it doesn't really matter. But for me, this is it is a game that is more fun if you're not like taking it super seriously AP for an hour kind of game.
But you're not going to get AP in this game. Like, sorry, this is your final thoughts.
But I think the puzzle mechanism and the auction mechanisms work really nicely together and makes for a quite fun game. I would like to keep this in the collection. I think it really serves a purpose, and it's really... Yeah, but it's easier to get to the table. We have so many games. I have to will we actually play this? And I think actually we will. I hope so. It's a fun game. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay, so glowing words. It's good for what it is, and it serves a purpose. You know then that it's great game.
That is great game praise.
Art Society really impressed me by making a super simple game being very, very fun. And that, again, that's also negative again. A super simple game can't be fun. No, but like a super, they distill the auction, distill the puzzle. Both of these things are very simple, but they work surprisingly well. And it's a quick game. All the turns go quickly. It's a feeling of, no, oh, you got this thing, you got that thing. There's like a lot of fun, while also being enough depth and strategy and tactics and things to think about. Not that much strategy, more like tactics, trying to score the most points possible in a very fun way. I'm going to give this a 9. I think it's a super cool game, a great game, one of the better auction games I have played. And that's going to be the end of this video.
Yes.
I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.